Okay, so I didn't expect to do this actually, because well, I mean, what I meant was I was going to do this. It's just that I meant to do it in the other video that took 20 odd minutes. Right, because one of the reasons I went out today, I wasn't initially going to go out. It was Sunday, and it's been raining, like I say, most of the day. Although today it was mostly light rain and it was sporadic. You know what I mean? So it wasn't constant. But it's been wet and damp all day, and I must admit, you know, it being a Sunday, I just wanted a chill out day. But then I can't remember. I think it was something on an email or something, or anyway, something prompted me on the computer. I can't remember what it was now off the top of my head. Earlier on this morning, and it reminded me of a book that somebody was talking about, and I thought to myself, oh, I want to go and check that out. So I made the effort and went out. I always take my camera with me just in case, you know what I mean? In case something interesting happens or whatever, do you know what I mean? Or I come across something interesting or whatever. I'd rather have it with me. You know, it's that case of like, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it kind of thing. I guess it's that, maybe. Anyway, so the thing is, like I say, I went out initially to buy this book. Now, so I went to Waterstones, and I knew there's plenty of them knocking about, especially in London. But I decided to go to the one near Green Park Tube Station. Well, I'll say it's nearer Piccadilly, I guess, really. But I noticed there was a little mark on here as well when I should have got, no. See, fussing again, fussing. But maybe I should have got a better copy that was not blemished, because there's a little mark on there that, anyway. Right, so this book is called The Establishment, and it's by a guy called Owen Jones. Now, most people in this country, especially if you follow the news, and particularly in terms of politics and so forth, should, I would imagine, and even if you don't necessarily, you should be aware of who this guy is. Well, possibly. I certainly am. I've seen him many times. He's been on Question Time a few times. He's been on lots of different political programmes. I think he's been on Newsnight, quite possibly. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm fairly certain he probably has. So, anyway, I'm not sure exactly how you quantify this person, exactly. I mean, I'm not sure if he's a journalist or... I'm not sure. But anyway, there is a term, and at the moment that just completely escapes me for the moment. But anyway, that's a picture of the chap. I'll just, so you can see, I can't see what I'm doing now. But that's Owen Jones anyway. So he's very politically spoken. Lots of he's a very intelligent guy. I think anyway. That's just my opinion. And I like the stuff he says. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's also a fellow Northerner like me. I think. I can't remember exactly whereabouts he's from. I don't know a lot about his... so maybe I'll Google him and find out a bit more about him. Anyway, so somebody was telling me about this book that he's written. And I've sort of got a brief gist of what it's about. And now the thing is that... I haven't read a book for ages. I've got a few books on the shelf over there. And in fact, people buy me books. My friend John, he buys me books a lot of the time. And as much as I genuinely intend to read them, I just never get round to it. And I'm always constantly on this thing, you see. I'm always on the computer or doing these things or whatever. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't like reading, because I do, actually. And I love books. I absolutely do. I love books. I actually adore books. I really do. I love them. I love libraries. One of my little fantasies, one of my little dreams would be that if I ever managed to get a place of my own, which is probably extremely unlikely, but hey, who knows really? You never know, do you? But you know, the thing is that one of my dreams, one of my little fantasies, has always been to have a place where I could have a library but not just a sort of like a couple of bookshelves somewhere. I mean, like a proper, like in one of those mansion houses. Well, obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to get a mansion house. I don't even if I did get some money and enough to buy one of those things, I don't want a mansion house. You know what I mean? I really don't. Seriously, no thanks. Do you know what I mean? It's too much. You know what I mean? It's like just a nice little cottage somewhere or whatever sort of thing. But a place where I could have a whole room devoted as a library. Do you know what I mean? Now that would be awesome. I really, really want to do that. You know what I mean? It's something I've. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to have a library. Just something like to me, it'd be like a place in the house where I could retreat to and just be surrounded by books and just, you know, it'd be like a little sanctuary within my sanctuary, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's funny that for that memorial thing that was on Friday, it was at the Royal College of Physicians. And it's in near Regent's Park, and in that building, even though it's quite a modern building, well, I say modern, I mean I don't know when it was built exactly, I've got a feeling it might be about 60s maybe, but I don't know, I could be wrong. Might have been built in the 70s, I'm not sure exactly. I didn't really check out its history necessarily, but anyway, the thing is that it's got a library in there. Do you know what I mean? And although the bookshelves and the what's names, it's got like cages. I don't know if that's the right description, but and they're locked. Do you know what I mean? Because they're really old. I mean, like they're all leather bound, and you smell them as well. You go up and you can smell the leather. Do you know what I mean? They're leather books, and they're huge. Some of them, they're huge, big tomes, as they. I think that's the right word to use. But some of them are huge, massive, big volumes of books on whatever. Presumably, obviously, medical stuff, being a physician's college. But it was great. I loved it. Do you know what I mean? It's just amazing. I love being. And the whole room, all the four walls, and then there was like a balcony where there was another tier of books on that. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing. And oh man, I've never been in a library like that before. Never in my life. You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, obviously I've been in local libraries, but they're not the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Not in the sense of like when you get a library that all four walls are covered in from floor to ceiling. Do you know what I mean? In books. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I love it. Sorry, I'm waffling again. Here we go. But I do. I love books. And like I say, I've got a good few on the shelf there, which I'll show you in a second before I finish. And like I say, there's quite a few that people have bought me, and I love them. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely do. But I've just not got around to reading them. And I think it's partly laziness. To be quite honest, I'll be really honest. It's laziness. Do you know what I mean? To some degree. It's also sometimes I just can't find the time, but I'm sure if I really made the time, I could sit down and read a book for a good hour or two and what have you. But that's the other thing with me as well. I'm good at starting something and never finishing it. But then again, you see, sometimes there comes along a book. There's one in particular I've got in mind now, but I'm not going to go, otherwise I'll be here all day and I'll start waffling on about that. But suffice it to say, there's sometimes a book when you pick it up, no matter where you are, do you know what I mean, no matter what you're doing, sometimes you find one of those rare books where you pick it up and as soon as you start reading it, you can't put it down. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a page turner. It really is. Do you know what I mean? And you're like turning, because it's kind of like, no, I can't stop now because I'm dying to find out what's going to happen next. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. It was brilliant. It's a lovely book. I will tell you what it's called. It's called The Shack by Paul M. Young. I believe that's the guy's name. And although it is based on, it's a religious thing, in a sense it is. It's not. Again, I must admit, I will recommend it because I think it was fantastic. It's amazing, and it's not. You don't necessarily have to be religious because I'm not particularly religious. I don't subscribe to any particular faith necessarily. I'm not necessarily an atheist either necessarily. I don't think. I'm not sure what I am, to be quite honest. I kind of believe there's something, but I'm what that is, I don't know. Anyway, again. it's a subject I want to kind of stay clear of, because I don't particularly want to start getting into, you know, it's a flipping minefield, let's be honest about it. And you know, I have my own personal thoughts and feelings around that subject, and I want to try and just keep them to myself, unless I get in a conversation with another human being at some point, then maybe. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, I don't particularly want to start getting into this particular subject. But to get back to this book, and I'll get back to this one in a minute, flipping out, I don't have to... The Shack is just an amazing story. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I loved the concept, I loved the idea, I loved the way the guy, he puts it across in such a way, and it's meant for his kids. Apparently, I think if I remember rightly, the background is that he originally did the story for his children. He is a Christian fellow, he lives in America, I can't remember whereabouts exactly off the top of my head, but he wrote the story originally for his children, and like apparently a couple of family members started to read it and they felt this is amazing, and it just grew from there, and he changed it slightly, I believe, not completely, but just so it'd be more printable or whatever. I can't, like I said, again, if you want to find out how, you know, find it out. But anyway, the thing is that I must admit, it's just amazing. I loved it, absolutely loved it, and it literally was. You know, as soon as I started reading the first few pages, I couldn't put it down. I honestly couldn't. It's very, for me, at least. I can't speak for other people, obviously, but for me, that's very rare. It's very rare that I'll come across a book where I literally find it extremely difficult to put the damn thing down. Do you know what I mean? Because I just couldn't wait to find out what's going to happen next. Like, it's like flipping it. Whoa. Do you know what I mean? Oh wow, loved it. Absolutely loved it. And like I say, I just loved the person's concepts, the ideas. It's just beautiful. It really is. And they're supposedly supposed to be making it into a film. And boy, I can't wait until they do that. Oh, that'd be so awesome, man. If it's going to be anything like the book. Oh man. Anyway. Sorry. Again, going off tangent, off piste, off subject. So now this book, like I say, I'm going to make an attempt at it. I'm going to make some time to read it because I definitely want to. I can't see this being a page turner necessarily. No offence to Mr. Jones. I'm sure it's well written and I'm sure it's really interesting, and I do agree with a lot of his views and his ideas and stuff as a person, and the stuff that he says. I really like a lot of what he says, and I agree with a lot of what he says, but I don't know if this will be a page turner like that other thing, to be quite honest. But anyway, we shall see, shan't we? Right, okay, again, this is going on way longer than I intended, but I'll just quickly show you the books that I've got. I'm not going to go through them individually because, again, otherwise we're going to be here until Christmas. Right, so I'll just show you very quickly. Mind the wobbliness of this now as I take the camera off the tripod and just show you quickly my collection of books. It's not a vast collection, as you can see. You know, it's just oh, in fact, there's the shack. Look, you can see there. I think you can anyway. But like I say, and it's all various subjects, from physics to stuff about the mind, photographs, art books, all that sort of stuff. And yes, they've got a Bible as well, because I find stuff fascinating and interesting in terms of life in general. So that's my little collection of books. A lot of those have been bought for me, a lot of them I've bought myself, but like I say, I mean, obviously you can see it's not a vast collection of books. It wouldn't certainly fill it certainly would not fill a library, so, or even a small corner of a library. Sorry. Right. Okay, so, like I said, I do love my books. I love having them. and like I say, I need to try and make time to read, not just this either, but to read some of my other books that were bought for me and whatever. I need to start reading a bit more again, because I really enjoy reading, actually, I really do. And I think it's a very healthy thing to do, actually, for lots of different reasons. Apparently it burns calories, it burns calories as well, apparently. That's what I was told. I mean, like your brain, when you think about it, they reckon that people that work in an office are actually more tired than somebody that actually does manual labour, sort of like digging a hole in the road or something or whatever, because you're using the old grey matter and it tends to tire you out more. Anyway, this is the theory. I don't know. I've never done any tests or any whatsoever to find out the validity of this, but I imagine that maybe there's some possibility of truth to it. Perhaps it makes kind of sense to some degree. So, yeah, I guess whilst you're reading, you're burning calories, aren't you? Anyway, I have no idea. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. You know, I can sit down in an armchair, read my book. I'm exercising. I'm burning calories, aren't I? Sorry. Right. Okay. Fair enough. So, okay. Again, I shall catch you guys later. I'm going to get these uploaded. Hopefully it's not going to take too long, but right, so thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. And Silky, keep up the good work. Alright, cheers, catch you later.